All right, then let's get going then with some of today's speakers. I am very excited about the conversations that are going to be had here today and the people who will be sharing them. Our speakers today each come with a very unique viewpoint and experience and connection to both funding and scaling, which are both topics that you need to be considering no matter where you are at in business. Even if you are a shrimp, if you are still just getting started with your business, if you are not quite full time yet, you need to be thinking about scaling and funding. You will be that much more ready to do what you are here to do if you start your business with these things in mind. You will build your business differently when you're already thinking about funding and scaling. And for all the crabs and whales in the crowd, this is going to be really great info for you as well. So there is, before we dive in too much further though, we are definitely going to be taking some questions. Somewhere on the screen is going to be a place for you to ask questions along the way. We are going to be going right through the content, but then towards the end of this session today, I will be coming back and facilitating a Q&A. So ask your questions in the Q&A space. And be sure to upvote those questions. We have a screen here. I can see all of the most upvoted questions, and those are going to be the ones that I tackle first. So ask your questions in the Q&A section and be sure to upvote those that you also would like to hear the answers to. And we will be diving into Q&A at the very end. Well, not quite the very, a little bit. How about that? Let's get started though with our first session of today. I'm so excited to introduce you all to Jen Bonet. She's going to be facilitating a session here called Show Me the Money, where she will be sharing insights into the world of funding. So Jen, join us. Let's share all about funding with all of these sea creatures, I guess, that we have with us today.
It's really great to be with you all, and I'm excited about the cocktails because, as you can see, I'm coming to you live from Savannah, Georgia, where it's never too early in the day to partake in a cocktail. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Here we go. And I'm not seeing what I want to see. Sorry, having a little technical glitch here. Let's get a slideshow now. Hopefully you can all see my screen. Actually, it says it's paused. Great. So I am Jen Bonet, and I am coming to you from Savannah, Georgia, and I'm going to talk about money. And I want to touch on a couple of things that Emily talked about. First is mindset and starting with the end in mind, because I feel that's one of the most important things that you can bring to your business is really kind of creating a vivid vision for where you want to go. And that raising funding, while it might seem scary to some of you, is really a learned skill. And 90% of the effort is controlling your mind, your mentality to make sure that you're ready for this journey. I am Jen Bonet. This is a picture of me in People magazine in the early 2000s. I am a recovering entrepreneur, is what I call myself. I'm a former chief technology officer and CEO of venture-backed technology companies. I've done 7 startups. I've had 3 exits. I've raised about $52 million in funds from angel and venture companies over a number of years. And now I spend all my time focused on how do I support the entrepreneurs, other entrepreneurs, and give back through that. I'm the founder of a nonprofit called Startup Chicks, which focuses on female entrepreneurs in technology. I most recently was the director of the Advanced Technology Development Center, which is the state of Georgia's technology incubator, the technology incubator for Georgia Tech. And now I'm in Savannah, Georgia, cultivating a creative technology class here in Savannah. and helping entrepreneurs go from idea through raising funds and scaling and growing. This is a long journey. This is kind of my third career. I am also a technician, so I can code. But today, I think the most important thing is the money part, right? And you can't talk about showing me the money without having a great picture of Tom Cruise in here. So that's just in there for fun. I'm going to start with kind of an overview of where I see funding today. And I'm focused on venture and angel funding. And if you don't understand what that is, we're going to get into the weeds and we're going to talk about what that is. But right now, where we are with funding is there's a lot of money out there to be had. And so there's never been a better time to raise money in my mind. And I've been doing this for over 20 years. Angel funding is when you raise money from high net worth individuals. It's always hard because it's individual, right? And so there's relationships that need to be built. But at the same time, these folks, for the most part, did very well during the COVID stock recovery and are flush with cash. And they're also looking for these alternative investments outside of the stock market. Venture capital is institutional investors. They've raised money from other people. They're not using their own money. And they have a ton of money out there. That's what dry powder means. It means that they've raised money and it's been sitting there unused for a period of time. And so while there's less investing in early stage companies last year, they have raised money and now they have to deploy that capital. They spent a lot of time this last year reinvesting in companies that they already had an investment in. Right now, they're looking for interesting opportunities. They are looking for opportunities that have strong leadership and or product market fit. And then grants is the last thing I want to touch on. There's a lot of grant funding available, especially for female-owned businesses that might have sustainability or social causes behind them. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. There's also some very specialized opportunities for grants due to the Recovery Act. And so we'll touch on that. Female founded companies. So not a lot of venture goes to female founded companies, right? In historically speaking, it's been less than 2% over the last 20 years of venture funds have gone to female founded companies. And it had been slightly trending up, so such that it was 2.8% in 2020. And just this past year, sorry, it was 2.8% in 2019, and then it was down in 2020. Of that, just over 800 startups received funding, and 4.9 billion in funding went to those companies. And it's even harder for women and Latinos. A friend of mine, Catherine Finney, started Digital Undivided and did a study in 2016 where there's less than 100 Black and Latina females that had ever raised funds. The good news is more than 100 Black and Latina females raised funds just last year alone. So the opportunity is there. So while the numbers don't look great, it's on the rise. The statistics that you see on the left-hand side of your screen are all about women in VC. So more and more women are getting into the venture capital game. More and more women are starting their own funds. More and more women are trying to solve this problem. Women investors tend to invest in more female founders than male investors do. And all the male investors I know are actively seeking to invest in minority and women-owned businesses because statistically speaking, women and minority-owned businesses are more likely to be successful. I wanted to highlight a couple of huge things that happened this year, right? Bumble went public through an IPO. 23andMe went public through a SPAC yesterday, right? And Everlywell is declared a unicorn. So here are 3 female companies that are either public or a unicorn, which is a $1 billion valuation, right? So while historically it's been very hard to raise money as a female founder, it's getting easier every day, and there's not a better time if you are a great founder with a great business and a great team to raise money. Never been a better time. So with all that in mind, I like to say we can't control the statistics. We can't control how many women are in venture right now when you're trying to raise. All you can control is that which you can control, right? So how do you stack the cards in your favor, stack the deck in your favor, right? And I want to point out a couple of things. One is taking on investors is primarily about building relationships. And women are great at building relationships, right? This is a long-term relationship that you're going to have with somebody that believes in you, believes in your company. And so this is a great opportunity for you to build those relationships and move forward. Mindset, I mentioned earlier, right? You're going to get a lot of no's, right? And you're going to have to make a lot of asks, right? You're never going to get a check if you don't ask for a check, right? So you have to stick with it. You have to start with the end in mind, and you have to be willing to get a lot of no's. The first time my team raised money, myself and my team raised money, we hit over 70 no's before we got to a yes. So you got to stick with it, right? You have to find the right investor. So how do you focus on what you can control, right? Not all businesses get funded. Less than 1% of all businesses that get started in this country actually get funded through angel or venture capital. Less than 1%, right? So is the business fundable? And then the second question is, are you fundable? Or hopefully you and your team fundable, right? So is the business fundable? Do your homework, right? What do I mean by that? There's two components of this. Build a great business, right? Hopefully you're familiar with the business model canvas. It's basically a business plan, but kind of a working plan instead of a typed out 40-page plan, right? There's a couple of key things here, right? Know your numbers, right? Revenue has got to be higher than cost at some point in the future. Otherwise, you don't have a business, right? So understand your customers, have customers, right? The longer you can wait to go raise this kind of money, the better position you are to maintain control of your company, right? So you want to wait as long as possible to go after angel and venture capital. You want to have hopefully a minimum viable product in the market. You want to have some customers, and then you need to know your numbers, right? You need to know all the lingo and the language, what's ARR, what's the, how much is it going to cost to acquire a customer? What's the lifetime value of a customer? All of these things your investors are going to expect you to know as the founder of a company. Even if you've got a great CFO, they're going to want you as the founder to be able to talk the story of your company in numbers. So build a great business, right? Get some customers, know your numbers, know what makes the business work. The second piece is know the market, right? So there's lots of ways out there to understand the venture market today. You can sign up for newsletters at PitchBook and AngelList and things like that. The key that I look for is who's invested in a company like mine recently, right? Which investors are investing in my type of business, and how can I get to know them? How can I follow them on social media? Maybe I can go to a conference or attend a Zoom webinar that they're involved in. How do I get to know the type of investor that would invest in my business and start building a relationship with them, right? Ask them for advice. They love to give advice, right? Ask for a meeting. 6 months before you're ready to raise money, ask for a meeting and ask for advice, right? So that's kind of the homework. The next question is about you, right? I want to remind you that first-time funders get funded every day, right? Everyone goes, oh my gosh, this is so hard, and only people that have done this 100 times are getting this. It's really about, if you're a first-time founder, are you passionate? Are you persistent? Are you really willing to do the work? Are you coachable? Like, can you take a critique from an investor? Somebody that thinks that maybe they know a little bit better and you should do it a different way. How do you handle that critique, right? That's really important. Can you build out your vision? And most importantly, can you build out a team to support your vision and execute on your vision, right? Because these companies, these venture firms or angel investors want you to scale and grow your business, right? Such that it's not all on your shoulders. So you have to be able to build out a team to execute, right? And if you answered yes to both, then, two types of money, your money, other people's money. I'm here to talk about other people's money. So we have three types of other people's money: debt, equity, convertible note. Convertible note is a little bit of both. It's a note, so it means it's a loan, but it typically converts to equity. Equity means you're selling a piece of your company, right? Debt is taking a loan against your company, right? So I'm a specialist in equity funding. You're selling 8% of your company. That means that the investor expects to get a return when you exit. Okay. That means you have to exit, right? So if you're building a business that you want to run for your entire life, equity funding is quite possibly not for you, because there has to be an exit at some point and a return to the investor. That's what this is about. This is kind of the source of capital based on your scale, your stage, right? So if you're at concept, you're looking at friends and families, grants, angels, and angel groups. As you move into product, prototypes and product, you're looking at, again, angel group and venture capital. When you get into growth and maturity, you're looking at venture capital and private equity primarily, right? All right, I'm talking to the women in the audience that want to raise funds. Pitch and business plan competitions are actually a great way for women to get on stage in front of a bunch of investors. I pitched on stage at the Women 2.0 pitch competition from my last funded startup in 2009. I took second place, but I got a lot of attention from a lot of venture capitalists in San Francisco. So this is a really great way for you to get in front of venture capitalists, business plan and pitch competitions. Same thing with accelerator programs. Really great opportunity for female and minority entrepreneurs to get in front of the right audience and get mentorship, right? Most good accelerator programs fund you, not just give you education, and they certainly don't charge you. So if somebody says that they want to put you in an accelerator program and they're charging you, it's probably not a great accelerator program, right? You should be giving up something like 5 to 6% of your company, maybe for 50 to 100K when you get in an accelerator program. Grants, I love grants. Okay, I love grants because they're non-dilutive. It means they give you money to do experiments and you don't ever have to pay them back, and they don't take any equity. This is a great opportunity for female-founded businesses that are either focused on sustainability or some sort of service. Right, so they work great for companies with a social spin. Think Tom Shoes, for good, for profit, right? Making an impact, but also making profit. SBIR, STTR grants are a type of funding that's available from the federal government for research. And it comes in 3 stages. So there's a lot, you can go to grants.gov and type in a topic, and you can find grants that might apply to you. The other thing that I'm keeping a really close eye on is the American Recovery Act and the infrastructure bill that's coming up, hopefully. And these are going to have a lot of money set aside for new businesses to grow. The Recovery Act in particular just helped a company get connected to the technical college system of Georgia that does telehealth. So as the schools reopen and people go back to being trained, how do we ensure that they have healthcare? And that's one of the projects I've been working on in this region. All right, equity crowdfunding. So this is equity, it's like crowdfunding, like Kickstarter, but instead of selling, giving away t-shirts and selling your product pre-sale, you're actually selling a percentage of your company. And probably the 2 biggest ones are AngelList and Seed Invest. There's a lot of different options here. These platforms will help you do it the right way, because you do have to register with the SEC and abide by their standards and rules, right? Angel funding is when you sell a percentage of your company to a accredited high net worth individual. So they have to have a net worth of $1 million without their home, or make at least $250,000 a year. That's considered an angel, right? And you can sell a percentage of your company to them. You have to register with the SEC. They are seeking a return on investment, right? But it can be straight equity or it could be a convertible note. And you'll find angels in your community by looking for an angel group, right? So in Atlanta, there's the Atlanta Technology Angels. In Savannah, there's the Ariel Southeast Angel Partners. There's a group called Venture South that is basically takes over the entire Southeast portion of the United States. So you can search for angel investors. Some of the platforms that are good to find them on are Gust and, of course, AngelList. And then there's venture funding. And venture funding is a money manager, right? A corporation that's gone out and they have raised funds from high net worth individuals to create a fund. And now these people are actively managing this money. So the venture capitalists are out seeking to find startups that they can fund, and they are expecting a very high ROI, right? Now, venture capital has moved downstream in the last couple of years, so they are making early stage investments in startups, right? But they are professional money managers and they're not investing their own money. So they are looking typically towards a 10 times return. And that was a lot. I know that was a lot. Like I said, it's a learned skill. So find a mentor, find somebody that's done it in your community and have them help you. I put together a investor readiness assessment checklist for you all, and it's available at startupchicks.org/startup-checklist. And here's my contact information. And so I know it's overwhelming, and I know that was a lot, but like I said, it's a learned skill, and you need to learn the lingo, and then you need to find some mentors to help you. And if anyone wants to reach out to me, you've got all my contact information right there. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my share and send it back over to Emily. Thanks,
And that
everyone.
was fantastic. I super appreciate that. I feel like I just went to school, to business school for half a moment. That was so wonderful. If anyone has any questions for Jen, be sure to put those in the Q&A section, and we will come back for a Q&A session in just a little bit. I have a couple of questions too here we can lead with. I am very excited about that and hoping that everyone is thinking about how funding works in the future of their business as well. Again, even if you don't necessarily plan on doing it, maybe you want to bootstrap forever, maybe you don't currently think your business will ever be big enough that you need that. You never know what is going to happen and what opportunities will be presented to you. So simply by gaining this information, you are opening the door to all kinds of things in your business in the future. I especially love that Jen says that it all starts with mindset. That's something that I know to be very true for the entrepreneurial journey. This idea that you need to get okay with hearing no, that is also just part of this journey and part of the process as well. And this idea that to either get funding or simply to run your business for as long as you want to, you need to consistently focus on building a great business. So whether you are searching for funding or not, build a great business, guys. That's why we are all here. Very much so appreciate that. Again, have my own questions here. Feel free to put your questions in the Q&A section. And then we, I think, are ready to move on to our next speaker, who is Lisa Song Sutton, who is here to talk about bootstrapping and scaling. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Of course, take it away.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. I am in Las Vegas, so it is 10:36 a.m. here. I am going to share my screen so that you guys can see my presentation that I have prepared for you guys. Perfect. Okay. So just a little introduction of myself. I'm Lisa Song-Sutton. I'm an attorney turned entrepreneur. I have 4 companies that I have started here in Nevada, and they are diversified. They're across varying sectors. Ship Las Vegas, which is an independent mailbox rental packing and shipping store. I have a couple of those around town. Think like UPS store, but independent. So we service UPS, FedEx, and the Postal Service. Sin City Cupcakes are alcohol-infused cupcakes. It's boozy cupcakes in Las Vegas. You can't really go wrong, right? That's a really, really fun business, and we get a chance to be part of everyone's special occasions. So I love this company. It's so much fun. We'll get more into that later. Christie's International Real Estate. We do residential and commercial real estate services, and we provide clients with listing, buying, and of course, investment opportunities as well. And Liquid and Lace is an e-commerce brand. We sell women's swimwear and women's accessories. Aside from my businesses, I also really enjoy getting a chance to share actionable tips and knowledge through various business publications. Most recently, I've been featured in Forbes, Fast Company, Business Insider, Inc. magazine, and a few others. And I have had really great mentors in my life, and I just feel really blessed to be able to continue to share any knowledge that I also have as well. So in regards to bootstrapping, that's how I started all of my companies, and especially my first one, which was Sin City Cupcakes. When I started Sin City Cupcakes, I was actually still working full-time in a law firm. That was my big girl job. I went to law school, went to college, went to law school, and just had a career ambition of working as a lawyer. And so I want to encourage everyone who is tuning in, who has a 9-to-5, it's totally okay. It's totally okay for you to have a 9-to-5 right now. And in fact, it's totally okay for you to keep that 9-to-5 while you continue to grow and work on your side hustle. The way that it worked for me was that I was able to really mitigate the risk that comes with starting a company. I teamed up with my co-founder, Danielle, who is featured there as well. And she was the full-time operations partner. So my role with the company initially was to help provide funding and also provide processes and just kind of help us provide like a footprint in the valley, in the Las Vegas Valley. So I actually stayed working full-time at my 9-to-5 for the first 18 months that Sin City Cupcakes was alive. And I'm really glad that I did it that way, because we were able to grow really organically, and we didn't have to make desperate business decisions in the beginning because we had a steady stream of revenue coming in that happened to be my salary. And I just took all the extra money that I had from that after my own personal bills were paid, and I pumped that into our company. And we were able to grow organically and grow in a way that made our company sustainable. We started that company in 2012, and it's just been a blessing ever since. But different ways that you can start the company. You don't have to start with $1 million in the bank, and you don't have to go get fancy funding off the bat. I liquidated my 401k. At the time, I was 27 years old, so I was like, worst case, if this totally bombs, I can just, guess what, go back to work and make more money. So I liquidated my 401k and took a chance on myself. And I think that's one of the best investments that you can make. Why not give it a try, especially if you're, in your 20s and 30s. I think that's one of the best times to just jump right into business because you still have time. You have time to make mistakes. You have time to, regroup and regather and continue on. So as the company continued to grow, there was a combination of both self-funding and then reinvesting profits of our company right back into the company. So once you've started that, once you've actually, continued to bootstrap, right? How do you scale? So I'm a big believer that you can't scale without kind of knowing where you're going and setting those metrics. I enjoy using a process called OKRs. OKRs stand for Objectives Key Results. And you can just search on the internet for OKR template or Objectives Key Results template. There's a wide variety out there that you can use. I just use one that's formatted in Excel. And with OKRs, I like those because my companies and we do them every quarter. And one, it just helps keep us on track. You have this firm deadline because it's quarterly, right? So you already know what the deadline is. And then your objectives, which go across the top, are quantifiable, achievable goals. And then your key results, which are underneath the objectives, roll up to the objective that's across the top. And those key results are small, like chunks, small actionable items that it's going to take for you to obtain the objective. So with these OKRs, that's a great way for you to be able to kind of see the process of scaling and figure out how you can grow the company. Know that the company is going to change, and it's okay. It will change as you continue to grow and meet different metrics and levels. As the company grows, as you scale, you will have to onboard staff. You're going to end up with more expenses, right? There's an adage, the more you make, the more you spend. And there is a lot of truth to that. And just know that the company is not going to continue to grow and scale the way that it did from, year one or the early days. And that's okay, because that's how you know that the company is growing and changing and developing. So for example, with Ship Las Vegas, which are the independent mailbox rental, packing, and shipping stores, I started with one store in the southwest of Las Vegas. And when I opened the second store in the Northeast, I was able to open the second store because I leveraged existing resources that I had from the first store. So whether that was materials, boxes, shipping, whether it was staff. And when we first started, we were actually sharing staff between the two stores before we could get our feet under us with more hiring. There's so many different ways that you can utilize existing resources that you already have in order to continue to grow and scale. External resources are also something to consider as well. There's a great nonprofit that's here in Nevada that I'm on the board of, and they are the state's largest business accelerator called Startup NB. And not only does it provide mentorship, but it also provides access to funding and provides you with different opportunities in order to continue to learn to build your business and how to scale it, of course. I want you to think about diversification. So once you've started to bootstrap your company, or let's say you've obtained funding and you've started the process of operations and now you're starting to scale a little bit, how do you diversify your interests? I'm a huge fan of diversification, obviously, in what I've mentioned with the existing companies that I have. And certainly 2020 COVID year was a lesson personally for me to be grateful for the diversification that I have. There's so many ways that you can invest your profits into what I call income producing assets, right? IPAs. So you could turn around and start a new company, which is what I've done several times, in taking my portion of the profits, and instead of spending them on myself or going on a vacation, I use those to start another venture with a partner, with an operations partner. Real estate holdings, both active and passive, stocks, crypto, of course. Crypto is now certainly an asset class. And the beautiful part of, especially the environment that we have right now, is that you can leverage what I call good debt, meaning cheap debt, against assets that you have. For example, let's say stocks and crypto. For example, if you have a stock portfolio or crypto portfolio of over 100,000 US, you can borrow against 50% of that for very, very, very cheap. And my recommendation is that if you ever borrow, it should be because you're using that to purchase or obtain or create more income producing assets, like starting a business or buying a business or investing in a business or buying real estate. So how do you continue to also push forward? I'm a big proponent of focusing on your community. Get engaged where you live and work. And what do I mean by that? So I'm a former Miss Nevada. And during that time, I did nearly 500 community appearances, volunteering in schools, reading in hospitals, working with countless nonprofits. And while that physically took me away from my companies, actually all of our businesses saw an increase in the bottom line. And it was because I was out and about, right? I was out engaging in the community, meeting people that I otherwise would have never have met. And it was such an incredible experience. And so of course it would always come up, what else do you do besides this whole Miss Nevada thing? And that was my opportunity to talk about alcohol cupcakes or real estate or swimwear or whatever was appropriate for the conversation. So while pageantry may not be for everyone, what I do think could be for everyone is community engagement and volunteering. Select nonprofits that are near and dear to your heart. I'm a huge animal lover. I love animals. I have 2 corgis myself. So the Nevada SPCA is our state's largest no-kill shelter, and I love volunteering with them. And guess what? Volunteering with the Nevada SPCA means that you get to go play with puppies. I mean, this is not, a difficult, tall order. And again, it gets you out in the community that you live and work in. And especially as a business owner or a budding entrepreneur, it's so important for you to get out there and get engaged in your community that you live and work in. So I just want to share some takeaway tips that have just been condensed from what I've just shared with you. I know it's been a lot of information. Number 1, in my opinion, equity is queen, okay? Bootstrapping, I think, is one of the best ways for you to continue to grow and scale and retain as much of your company as possible. I'm of the mindset that you can always go out and get funding later, but if you give away too much of your company early, it just sets a different tone and trend. And I do think that you run the company different if you have this like 3 or 5 year goal in mind that you're going to sell it. I'm a big proponent of legacy. I enjoy having legacy businesses that I can continue to grow and scale myself up out of the daily operations. So that way it's still part of my business portfolio and it's still something that pays me, but I don't have to go work there every day. So in that, with equity being queen, be okay with delayed gratification. This is not going to be one of these, hey, we just raised $2 million, everyone's got a Tesla, we've got, fancy offices. No, it's going to be a grind. You're going to be working 7 days a week on your business, but I promise you there will be more better days than bad days. Number 2, utilize a procedure like OKRs to stay on track of your goals. How are you going to be able to get anywhere without having a destination, right? Make sure that you're scaling via metrics. So that way you have benchmarks to go back to. And if for whatever reason you didn't hit those metrics that you had set out for the quarter, then you have a roadmap to look back on to say, hey, this is why it didn't work, or this is why it did work. And accept that your company will continue to grow as it changes, and just enjoy that process and be part of it. Number 3, diversify. I'm a huge proponent of diversification. Look to obtain and create more and more income producing assets and leverage those assets that you have for good debt that you can use to obtain more IPAs, not the beer, income producing assets. And finally, just continue to push forward, get involved with your community, get out there and volunteer, even utilize the resources that you have with your own businesses. For example, at our shipping stores, we have a community book exchange table in each of our stores. And I love it because we have some people who come in simply to find out what new books we have, and they bring in books that they have from home and they take books from the store. And it's just another way for us to serve as a community resource as well as a shipping center. Finally, I just want to share and leave you with a quote that my parents told me when I was young, and it's near and dear to my heart. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So just know that you're getting a lot of information today, but at the end of the day, you have complete 100% control over the amount of effort that you put into any project or your side hustle or your 9-to-5 or whatever it is that you have on your plate right now. And just know that you can absolutely out hustle and outwork the next person. And as an angel investor, that's what I look for. I'm betting less on the horse than I am on the jockey, right? I want to know that you have work ethic. I want to know that you're committed. I want to see that. I want to feel that when you're telling me about the projects that you're working on, you're telling me about past experiences that you have. It's okay if you don't have a ton of experience in the beginning, but your work ethic, I promise, will shine through every time. So there's my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Lisa Song Sutton. And I am so grateful for the opportunity to engage with all of you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa. That was so So great. One of the things that really resonated with me here is something that I think about a lot. I feel like I say within the Being Boss community all of the time. Whenever we start these businesses, we are betting on ourselves, right? And what Lisa is reiterating here over and over with reinvesting in your business, with taking your profits for reinvestment, with putting money into these IPAs, all the things is that you are continually betting on yourself. If there's anyone or anything that I'm willing to bet on, it's me. And I hope that that is the same for you as well. Perfect. Let's move into some Q&A. I see a couple popping up over here that I would like to get started on. So here's an anonymous question. And Lisa, this one's for you if you want to pop back on. If someone is just in the beginning stages of investing and diversifying, what are the first steps they should take? Should it be investing in a business first, starting with stocks? What recommendations do you have?
Um, if you're looking to just diversify, I mean, it depends. I think that's a personal question, right? So are you looking for income producing asset that you don't feel like you have bandwidth to like actively pursue? So like, do you want to like make money while you sleep, right? Then I would say do a passive investment into like a real estate fund. I'm invested in a platform called Fundrise, for example. And with Fundrise, invest through REITs, which is real estate investment trusts. And with that, it's very hands off. You input your money, you tell them what type of investor you are and how you want your dividends, if you want them reinvested, if you want them pulled out quarterly. And that is just a solid passive investment that you don't have to actively manage. Now, if you want to utilize your funds to be diversified into something that's more active and hands-on that you have bandwidth and time for, I'm a huge proponent of starting a side hustle with an operations partner, or just keeping an ear to the ground of some great ideas. I mean, that's how we started Sin City Cupcakes. My partner, Danielle, she had this idea for alcohol cupcakes. And I was like, I don't even know how to bake. I will learn. That's a great idea. Vegas is the place for it. So just keep your ear for opportunity open as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I think I have another question for both of you. If Lisa and Jen, you both want to come back on, and that is how to find a mentor. Both of you mentioned this, and I feel like we can all agree that this is like a vast landscape of decisions that you make that not only affect yourself and your family and your team, but your business and your future. Like these are big decisions that need to be made. You've both mentioned mentors and that being an important part of your journey. How do each of you go about finding mentors or suggest people do? And Jen, why don't you go first on this one?
Sure, happy to. When I launched Startup Chicks back in 2008, I needed a board of advisors for that. And I needed some total rock star women entrepreneurs. And so I just started asking people that I knew, like, who's the most successful business female owner that you know? And would you introduce me? And I'd have coffee with them and I'd share my vision for what Startup Chicks was, just really a community of female entrepreneurs, prior to kind of before most of the other groups started. And then I like a mentor that scares me a little bit. So for me, I need, a little bit of tough love. So I'm searching for somebody that's gonna be a little bit tough on me and push me. So I think, ask people find groups like Startup Grind or different entrepreneur centers in your city and find the mentors that are available there. But then also don't be afraid to like use your own network and LinkedIn and find somebody that you think is going to be a good fit for you. Right. And the best mentor relationships end up becoming kind of you're both mentor and mentee. So, my mentors, they don't understand social media and tech as well as I do. So I can mentor them on that while they mentor me on on things like fundraising back in the day. So.
Wonderful. Great tips. Lisa?
With the mentors, I actually met the majority of my mentors, again, just being out and about in the community, whether it was at charity galas or functions or just, again, volunteering in the community, and you end up talking to people, meeting people, you're sharing what you're doing. They say, oh, my uncle does this, or my uncle invested, like whatever it is, like someone knows someone who can help you. What I love about mentors is that it's a relationship, right? It's a friendship, it's a relationship. So strive to add value. One of the best mentors I have, they come from a billionaire family, casino owners, and we had met socially, and I really wanted to just like be around them, learn from them, just kind of like be in their presence, right? And you don't want to make it awkward, but you don't want to run up to them and be like, will you be my mentor? Like, that's weird. Don't do that. Don't run up to anyone and ask, will you be my mentor? It's a little crazy, I think. But what I did was I just found ways to add value. So I had his email address. And what I would do is, if I came across an article that I, remembered that he had like mentioned something about this topic, I'd email it to him. And I would just like touch base, maybe like once every 2-3 months. I mean, this was a slow, little walk up here, but I would just ping him and like send in an article. Hey, I read this and it reminded me of that conversation that we had. Hope you're doing well. Would love to grab coffee sometime. And that's all I would say. And sometimes he would not respond. But I kept doing this. And months and months later, he literally emailed me back and he was like, fine. He's like, when do you want to meet? He was like, I obviously see that like you're not going anywhere. But I'm telling you, like, build those types of relationships, find ways to add value, and they will become long-term relationships in your life that help your business and also you personally.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So find someone who scares you and then quietly and easily bug them until they say yes. I also really love it. I feel like they're really usable pieces here are grow your network and engage with your community and keep an ear to the ground for the people who can serve you and add value. Add value every step of the way. Thank you both so much for that. Okay, I'm gonna do one, maybe two more. We'll see. We can see. Maybe we can do just quick fire. Question for Jen. Who do you go to when you want to assess your valuation before you pitch and come in too high?
Oh, tricky question. Yeah, so valuations are very subjective, right? So that's hard. I have a trusted kind of group of investor friends at this point, and investors that I've worked with in the past that I would go to and say, okay, this is what I'm thinking about and this is why. And then I try and get feedback from them before I would put it out there publicly to somebody that I was actually trying to raise money from. So I would say find a trusted person. I mean, there's certainly valuation services. But the other thing to look at is, all recently funded companies have to publish information with the SEC. So all funded companies that raise over, I think it's $60,000 actually have to file with SEC in EDGAR. EDGAR is the name of the system. You can search EDGAR. So you can go see who's raised money and how much they've raised. It's actually easier to go to something like Crunchbase if it's been a little while. And you can see who else has raised money. And so you can look at like businesses that took similar rounds of funding and what were they valued at. Use data.
Wonderful. Yes. Don't just make it up. Love it. Okay. Then I'm going to do one final question. I think, Lisa, this one may be for you. In case there's a handy site like Jen has just shared, how do you find good IPAs?
I like to subscribe to newsletters. I know it sounds a little like old school, but email newsletters I find are just chock full of great resources. One of them is 5 Bullet Fridays by Tim Ferriss. He's also got a great podcast. Another one is Contrarian Thinking by Cody Sanchez. She's phenomenal. She's an amazing female founder, and she has this newsletter called Contrarian Thinking, where she deep dives into like buying raw land and putting it on HipCamp, which is like the Airbnb for campsites. I mean, just like ideas that you're like, I would have never thought of that in my entire life, but I love that you're bringing this to my attention and you're giving me like a real life example of an entrepreneur who is doing this. So, you know, just soak up as much knowledge as you can, read, subscribe to newsletters, and luckily with social media as well, follow entrepreneurs that you find interesting. I mean, we're so lucky to have just on our phone, right? We have access to almost anybody right now. So jump on social media and start following entrepreneurs that you find interesting, that are doing interesting things, and ideas will start coming to you.
Awesome. Great tips. Thank you so much. Thank you both, Jen and Lisa, for such is it action packed? For value packed, have that value packed sessions on both scaling, bootstrapping, as well as funding. I very much so appreciate both of your expertise and storytelling and bringing these topics to us. With that, I think it's time for us to hand it over to, hello, FreshBooks. Welcome back.
Hello, thank you. Well, we're gonna move on to the demo portion of our programming, but first I want to thank the three of you, Emily, Jen, and Lisa. I think you are all incredibly inspiring entrepreneurs, and we're really lucky, and I'm personally very grateful that you joined us and shared a little bit of what you do. Keep doing great things, keep inspiring so many women. We are all in this together, and I'm so happy that you were part of this. So thank you so much. We are going to continue our programming. We have two wonderful companies. One of them is FreshBooks. The other one is Microsoft, who allowed us to put this event together. And we want to share a little bit about what we do and how can we help you, no matter where you are in the journey of your business. Either of our companies can do something for you. So we're going to start with FreshBooks, and I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Hannah David, who is going to do a quick demonstration of some of the features that FreshBooks has, and want to answer some questions. And then from there, we're going to go to Rachel D'Agostino from Microsoft, who's going to talk a little bit about some of the Microsoft programming specifically for small businesses and women entrepreneurs. So Hannah, take it away.
Thank you so much, Francisco. It's definitely a privilege to be a part of such an incredible group of women, not just as the panelists, but also as our audience today. Just going to go ahead, share my screen. Just give me a minute there. All right. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. I'm Hannah David, Senior Account Executive at FreshBooks at our head office here in Toronto, and I help business owners like yourselves automate mundane tasks and focus on more revenue generating tasks, whatever stage of the business you're at. Either you're a shrimp or a crab or a whale, we talk to business owners like yourselves and help you with scaling your businesses as well. Please feel free to post your questions in the chat through the demo, or even connect with us once the webinar is done. And we'd be happy to arrange for a more customized demo for your business as well. Before we dive into the demo, a quick question out to the audience here. Which one of you fine folks started a business looking forward to admin work or tax season every year? You can just feel free to drop your answers in the chat here, just with a yay or nay. But I'm assuming it's a resounding no. Unless, of course, you're an accountant, then it's a totally different story. With FreshBooks, we help you streamline most of our mundane admin work and free up time for you as business owners to focus on what you're passionate about, which is certainly growing and scaling your business. As a business owner, whether you're constantly on the move or wearing multiple hats, the FreshBooks dashboard empowers you with all the information that you would need, not just to run your business, but also grow your business. With just a glance at the dashboard, you're able to predict the health of your business and see if you're profitable or not, and whether you're focusing on the right areas of your business, or any areas of the business need your attention, like spend management, cash flow, etc. As a business owner, your customers are definitely the center of your business, and FreshBooks understands that, and it allows you to build great relationships with your customers by simply having access to all the data and information that you would need for your customer to build those healthy relationships. This is possible through our customer hub. Assuming that John Doe here is a long-term customer, a quick look at his profile gives me a great deal of information, all the way from outstanding revenue to any projects that are active and ongoing for this customer. Therefore, with all the crucial information about this customer in a central location, it helps me as a business owner to better understand this customer of mine and help me serve them better. So it works almost like a CRM at the end of the day. So we are all in business as business owners. I understand you're looking to get paid, and that's where our invoicing feature in FreshBooks makes it easier to send out invoices. You can send out invoices even on the fly in a very safe and quick manner. You can customize your invoices in FreshBooks to reflect your brand. Sorry, bear with me for a second as the invoice loads up here. So as you can see, it's pretty simple to go ahead and customize your invoice. You can add a logo, you can request for a deposit, or you can even break down payments into easy installments. And we all know that as a business owner, you have like a million things to do, and your customers also have a million other things to do at the same time. So our reminders function in FreshBooks makes it really easy for you to gently nudge your customers, as Lisa mentioned, not really hounding them, but gently nudging them to pay on time, and at the same time build really great relationships with your customers. The other thing that is equally important for business owners is, again, getting paid on time and not having to wait for payments to hit your bank account, especially after you've delivered your services. And that's what really FreshBooks helps you solve for as well. It gives your customers the convenience of paying online through one of our payment partners, and you can pick and choose to establish your connection with one of our payment partners and give the option to your customers to pay either by credit cards or ACH payments, really on the go, receiving payments much faster deposited into your bank account. So we touched a little bit on how you can manage the front end of your business and not just build great relationships with your customers, but also improve your cash flow with getting paid faster through our online payments option. At the back end, we also help you streamline your workflows by automating most of the mundane tasks like expense management, for example. As a business owner, again, every penny spent is important, and keeping a track of expenses and categorizing them helps you build visibility into your business. So you can connect your bank account or your credit card to FreshBooks with just by following a couple of simple steps. And once that's established, every day your FreshBooks account will be updated with your most recent spends. So your business is always automatically up to date. So it allows you to understand your spending, how profitable you are without the painful use of spreadsheets or a shoebox full of receipts even. So as a business owner, again, you're possibly making countless decisions on a daily basis. So this automated expense tracking helps you maximize even deductions during tax time. And again, who doesn't love that? Lastly, if you are a business with teams and bill by the hour or a flat rate, FreshBooks also allows you to collaborate with your team members with our projects function. Hopefully you can still see my screen. So with our projects function, again, you can go ahead, invite your contractors, employees, other team members to join you on the project, and you can seamlessly collaborate with them, and stay on top of client work. So with our time tracking tool as well, which is embedded into the projects feature, you can go ahead and start a timer or add time entries towards the end of the day to go ahead and record your work so you're paid for your time's worth. Our project profitability feature also allows you to determine which clients to focus on and what clients are really draining you of your resources. So at the end of the day, the projects and time tracking helps you pick the best projects and to collaborate with both internal and external stakeholders with ease. Finally, as a business owner, what sets you apart from competition is valuable data and insights into your business that can help you grow and scale to the next level and help you make those really crucial business decisions. So by giving you access to these reports in FreshBooks, we help you exactly achieve this. Our expense report, for example, gives you a good idea of where you're putting your money in the business. Is it worthwhile? Do you have to cut some spends that you're making? Our accounts aging report gives you a great idea of, which customer is taking the longest to make payments. Are they draining you again of your resources? Is it good to continue this relationship? Similarly, a profit and loss report, again, as the name suggests, it gives you a great idea of how you are how you're doing as a business, if you're profitable or not, if you're making more than you're spending. And again, all these reports can also be sent off to your accountant during tax time, or you could also go ahead and invite your accountant onto FreshBooks to help you with managing your books as well. So in short, FreshBooks really helps you as the business owner take all that mundane tasks off your plate and gives you that precious time back to focus on your business. I hope this was helpful. Again, if you're interested in seeing a more in-depth demo and help us capture your workflow to see if we are a good fit for your business needs, don't hesitate to reach out or fill out the form, and one of us will schedule some time with you to take some mundane admin work off your plate. Thank you again. And up next, we have Rachel from Microsoft.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hannah. So hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. I'm just going to quickly share my screen here. And there we go. We'll get this into presenter mode. Wonderful. Well, thank you again for having me here this afternoon. So my name is Rachel D'Agostino, and I'm a modern workplace channel manager here at Microsoft in Toronto. So I work with small and mid-sized businesses across Canada, really to help them embrace digital transformation and better understand how they can use Microsoft technology to empower them to increase productivity, improve collaboration, and doing this while staying secure from the growing number of threats in today's digital landscape. So if you're running a business, you know that the world has changed substantially over the past year, and we are now dealing with a business landscape that is markedly different from a year ago. Previously, you probably had employees who were co-located and were able to easily collaborate as they worked from the same workspace. It also would have been easier to do business with your customers and partners through in-person meetings and physical commerce. Today, employees are working from home or from multiple locations, and how you work with your customers, suppliers, and partners has also changed. Rather than meeting in person, much more of your business is likely transacted online. There's also a growing realization that remote and distributed work is here to stay. So Microsoft wants you to help you do it right. In fact, a Gartner survey revealed that 74% of companies intend to move some of their previously on-site workforce to permanently remote positions post-COVID-19. With that being said, there are three things that are really top of mind for business leaders like you. How can we do distributed work better and enable employees to stay productive and connected, not only with each other, but also with customers and partners? Without the safety of the network perimeter of the office or the workspace, and because of increased use of personal devices, security risk vectors have increased. This leads to my second question. How do we ensure security of our data and devices in a distributed work environment? And lastly, how can we better manage costs in the face of economic uncertainty? All of this is happening against a backdrop of increased cyber threats and phishing attacks post-COVID-19, many of whom are targeting small and medium businesses like yours. These security attacks have real economic consequences for small businesses. A common refrain I often hear is, "I'm too small a business for hackers to attack me. Only large enterprises need to worry about security." Or, "Why would my data be important to hackers?" Well, as long as your data is important to you, that's all that matters to the hackers. Let me tell you a story. A small business hired a new CFO, and she posted about her job on LinkedIn. Within a week, she was spearphished through an email pretending to be the CEO, asking her to transfer $40,000 to an account. Since the CEO was traveling, the CFO assumed that the email was legitimate and wired the money. There are many such stories, and if we look at aggregate industry data, it validates these stories and demonstrates that small and medium businesses are very vulnerable. 1/3 of all cyber attacks are targeted at small businesses. But what's worse is that while small and medium businesses face the same threats as enterprises, they don't have the same protection, which can lead to catastrophic outcomes. For example, 61% of small businesses that experienced a cyber attack were not able to operate. And the average cost of a data breach for an SMB is about $108,000. That's why it makes so much economic sense for small businesses to invest in security upfront in order to protect your business. The good news is that Microsoft has an offering that can really help you meet these challenges. Microsoft 365 Business Premium. As you can see, Microsoft 365 Business Premium is our most comprehensive offering for small and mid-sized businesses. It combines the power of office productivity tools with advanced security and management in a cost-effective package to address the challenges we spoke about earlier. Let's take a bit of a closer look. Microsoft 365 Business Premium provides a comprehensive collaboration and security solution to help address common business challenges. Employees are now working in distributed teams and require critical access to work apps and resources in order to communicate and collaborate with partners, customers, and each other. Microsoft 365 Business Premium brings together your favorite productivity tools from Word, Excel, Outlook, and Microsoft Teams, along with advanced remote access, security, and device management capabilities. Basically, it is one solution that has all you need to run and grow your business while having peace of mind that your sensitive information is protected. Let's quickly talk about the ways that Microsoft 365 Business Premium can help you run your business, keeping employees productive and business data secure. So as I said, Microsoft 365 Business Premium brings together the key capabilities that you need to enable work from anywhere. It's an all-in-one solution for collaboration, communication, and security, and it's easy to use. Microsoft Teams allows users to stay connected with customers, vendors, and each other in one place. With Microsoft Teams, you get one place to access your apps for video conferencing, chat, and co-authoring of documents, one place to access shared files and history of conversations, and integrated app experiences that you can customize for your business's workflow. Microsoft 365 Business Premium helps reduce the risk of costly damage from cyber threats such as phishing, viruses, and ransomware attacks. As it is a cloud-based service, employees can securely access data anywhere, anytime, with tools such as multi-factor authentication. Microsoft 365 Business Premium also helps protect your organization from malware and other malicious content to better protect your emails, files, sensitive information, and devices from ransomware and phishing attacks. And speaking of devices, today 64% of SMBs allow employees to access work data on personal devices. A common scenario is an employee using their personal phone to check company email. They receive a confidential business plan and save it for later reference, but accidentally save it to a personal share, which is not secure. With Microsoft 365 Business Premium, you can protect against this scenario by setting up protection policies that help to safeguard sensitive work information. And lastly, Microsoft 365 Business Premium is less expensive and easier to manage than a comparable collection of third-party solutions. As a customer, Microsoft 365 Business Premium eliminates the need for multiple point solution and helps reduce your operational costs, lowering support, help desk, and maintenance costs while simplifying your licensing so you can focus on growing your business. I hope that this presentation has armed you with the information on how Microsoft can help you adapt to the new era of remote working and focus on growing your business. It is a single solution that includes the best of productivity tools and advanced security and management, so you have everything you need to run your business with peace of mind. If you'd like to learn more, you can get started today by scheduling a live demo of Microsoft 365 using the above link, which we'll provide following today's webinar. Additionally, check out our product documentation for more information. Thank you, and I'll hand that back to Francisco.
Thank you so much. And I am just here to wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you to all of our presenters. And again, thank you to Microsoft for being part of this and believing in the, the idea of putting this webinar together. So we will make a recording available of this webinar as of Thursday. So if you joined in late or you want to go back to it, you can simply use the same link that you received to join the live event, and that will take you directly to the on-demand version. So thank you so much for joining us. Feel free to add any questions. We also have a quick survey, and it would mean the world if you let us know how we did. How can we improve these webinars that we're putting together for you? So if you can let us know, it'll take about 2 minutes for you to fill out the survey on my left, somewhere in here, and let us know how we did. It means a lot and it helps us grow. So thank you again, and hope to see you at the next webinar in July, and have a wonderful afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you. Take care.